Question one. Why do you want to work at Tesla? I'd like to work for Tesla because of my love for world change. I like what Tesla is doing when it comes to driving the world from a system in which we are very reliant on combustion engine vehicles and driving it towards a more sustainable future where we're looking into using power from lithium ion batteries and wind power and solar power and essentially depending more on renewable energy as opposed to um, fossil fuels. I also like Elon Musk's vision as the CEO and as someone who is a futurist and optimistic person. I also like the prestige that Tesla holds when it comes to advancing the world to a more sustainable future through renewable energy. I like Tesla's vision when it comes to creating the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving the world's transition to electric vehicles and its mission to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport by bringing compelling mass market electric cars to markets as soon as possible. We see this in China, one of its major marketplace, also in a lot of Scandinavian European countries, and also in the United States as well. It's very prominent and prevalent in places like California and Florida and Texas as well. Why should you be selected for the project manager position? I should be selected for this project manager position because I have extensive scheduling experience when it comes to using modern software such as Primavera P6 software. I've used this in the past and it is very effective when it comes to making sure that people are scheduled correctly. Also, I have experience when it comes to cost management, risk management, and team formation as well. When it comes to cost management, I'm very experienced when it comes to the process of estimating, allocating, and controlling the costs of a project as it relates to its predictions and forecasting. This allows for a business to predict common expenses in order to reduce the chances of the business and the project going over budget. When it comes to risk management, I'm also someone who has a strong background in engineering, construction, manufacturing, and the technical program management. I also have a highly organized mindset, and I have a passion for driving multidisciplinary projects and an unparalleled ability to pull people together to make things happen. I'm also very extremely detail oriented. I'm able to identify real hard barriers and drive the cross functional teams to execute quickly at high quality. This is something that's very important to me. What are your weaknesses? Some of my weaknesses are I do tend to be overly optimistic sometimes. I do tend to trust people at a large measure because I like to see the potential in people. I like to see people as altruistic as opposed to people who are selfish and greedy. I like to see people, especially when they're people that I hire, I like to see them as people who will work hard and work hard with other people to get a project done as effective and as fast as possible. Because at the end of the day, we're all working towards the same goal, a more sustainable future. Another one of my weaknesses is I do tend to overplan a lot, and this also is a factor of my attribute when it comes to being a perfectionist and being someone who is very much detail oriented. I like to make sure that I know how things are going to come out and how things are going to be resulted because I like to plan alternative ways to create an alternative method in case things don't work out. Give me an example of a time you organized a complex undertaking requiring a schedule and a budget. A time that I organized a complex undertaking requiring a scheduling, and budget and cost was for my last company. It was a large retail company. As it relates to scheduling, I focused on using network programs for evaluation of the project and reviewing technique and critical path method. Also, I also with my team used Gantt charts. I observed the results by looking at the maximum EF as it relates to the calculated duration. It's very important that when you are looking at these things, you're able to predict and put into consideration and analyze things like risk management, cost management, predicted cost, also the predicted calculation duration as well. I could have had better teams and better delegation when it comes to discussing cost and risk management that would have helped to possibly be more efficient in analyzing the financial risks and the prediction of inevitable expenses and overhead costs in order to reduce the chances of going over budget. Give me an example of a time you faced significant conflict. How did you handle the situation? What would you have done differently if you're facing the same situation again today? The time I faced significant conflict was I could have had better teams when it came to cost and risk management. As I was talking about earlier, for my last job, I was tasked with managing a project uh, that had to do with an overnight crew. And although the scheduling was consistent because the store closed at 8 p.m., so the customers are not allowed in the stores after 8 p.m., I worked with my crew from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m., and I was tasked with scheduling, cost management of overtime, and overhead costs, also damages to the property of the company, risk management, and forming the right team for the job. This bad situation was there wasn't a lot of chemistry between the coworkers because a lot of them were from different agencies. What I could have done differently is hiring a bunch of workers from the same agency. That way, they subsequently would have had more chemistry with each other and they would have worked together in the past. That way, they know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and they're better at interpersonally communicating with each other because communication is very important when you're working on projects and things that relate to engineering.